All right, just taking a quick look at the SOLIX C800. This is an all-new model from Anker. Actually, it's not an all-new model. Apparently, they were selling this thing in Japan for a while now. So they finally made it available here. And as you can see, just looking at it, it's basically the C1000, the very popular C1000, 1,000 watt hours, 1,800 watt inverter. It's just got less capacity and a smaller inverter. So you might say, well, that doesn't sound like a good recipe. But guess what? There are advantages to this setup, including the little extra storage area that you do get there. Yes, but even just with the other specs, guess what? It's going to be lighter, right? So now the C1000 was very light for how capable it was. About 26 pounds. So this one, 23 pounds. There's another advantage here. 1200 watt inverter. Yeah, you're not going to be able to power, pretty much anything. If you want to be able to power pretty much anything that plugs into a standard wall outlet, you need 1800 watts, right? But with 1200 watts, it's a smaller inverter, and generally, it's going to use less power. The inverter itself is going to consume less power whenever it's on. So that might be an advantage, to you as well, especially if you have kind of the right appliances here. The things that use the most AC power are heating stuff up, right? It's either you're cooking or like you're using a hairdryer or something like that. So guess what? A lot of those are resistive loads, and they do say that this thing does have that surge pad feature where it can actually power things that would normally go up to 1,600 watts. It will power it still with a 1200 watt inverter. It does that by dropping the voltage. And now there are two different versions of the C800. So there's the regular one, and then there's the C800 Plus. So depending on what you want to do with this thing, do you want more storage capability on top? Or do you want this this is like an unusual, a little bit funky little light accessory that they include. The C800 Plus it's designed to store the flashlight. And, well, is it a flashlight, a camping light, floodlight, candle light? It's anything you want it to be, basically. You can it's got this like ball joint on it that'll allow you to kind of direct it where you want. It's got a magnetic base, and it actually stands up onto the power station. As you can see there is a place for it to attach to the power station. It says place pole here, basically. So, or you can attach it to your car, anything, anything that, it's magnetic. So anything that it will stick to. And then as you see, there's like three parts here. There's like the light itself. There's like a telescoping part, and then, the ball joint part. So the C800 Plus, actually, the compartment is designed to house and charge the light. So, you could still use it for a little bit of storage, but I mean, the light is going to take up most of it's going to take up most of the room. And then, if you don't have the light in there, it's not going to have a completely flat bottom. Everything that this thing shares in common with the C1000, let's just go over it really quick here. Yes, LFP batteries. Yes, 1 hour fast charge from the wall. There's no power brick. The solar is a little bit different, so we'll come back to that. Yes, you do get the app, and the 20 milliseconds or less UPS. Yeah, it's half as much, so 300 watts, but again, 2.3 hours because it's a smaller battery. I think that's okay. I'm okay with that setting because you can always over panel it a little bit. Let's say you got like two 200 watt panels. You could hook them up in series. Yeah, you can, because guess what? It's 60 volts. So I think it's probably the same charge controller that's in the C1000, because that can do 60 volts and it can do up to 600 watts. They're probably just limiting it, with the software. So, to make, I don't know, is it to protect the battery? Probably not, because you can fast charge this thing from the wall, right? It's probably just to kind of differentiate this thing from the C1000 a little bit more. But again, what I was saying is you can over panel. So you could hook up 400 watts, right? Two 200 watt panels, hook them up in series. You'd be somewhere, if they're both 18 or 20 volt panels, you would be around 40 volts, and it can do 10 amps. And guess what? It'll just limit it to 300 watts. So yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer, but you wouldn't have to have perfect conditions. You could probably still get 300 watts. And so I always like to over panel like that anyways, because yeah, it just makes solar charging more consistent. You kind of can rely on it a little bit more. And then as we talked about, pretty much everything else is the same. Everything else is pretty much the same. And the C1000 is basically one of the best portable power stations out there. So now, you know, if you do want to use the power station more for emergency use, you know, home backup, if you lose power or something like that, then yeah, the larger 1800 watt inverter, it makes more sense, because then you don't have to worry about, you know, can I power this? Can I power this? Anything you find in your house that's, you know, aside from obviously the stuff that runs on 240 volt, you know, you'd be able to power it. But for this, you know, for being portable, for being out and about, for camping, you know, camping at night, yeah, I can see the appeal here. You can bring all your little cables with you. You know, it's just a little bit lighter. The inverter is not going to chew through your battery so fast. Yeah, there's a lot to like here. I think really the worst thing about this product is it might make your decision it might make your decision a little bit difficult here. You know, if you were about to pull the trigger on a C1000, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I can't tell you one way or the other. You kind of have to decide for yourself. You know, about everything we talked about in this video, there's pros and cons here. I guess the one thing that I could say that might make you feel a little bit better is I don't think there's a bad choice here. I would probably go for this one here. I would probably go for the C800, because I do like portable options, portable power stations. I do think that's appealing. You know, a lot of people, they want me to like review these kind of like home backup systems, like the Blue Eddy, what is it, P9000 or something, the Anker, not Anker, EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra, or some of these like server rack setups, right? I have no interest in this stuff. That's crazy to me. I mean, if you want to go spend 10 grand on a system like that, so you can basically live your life and, you know, be wasteful with electricity, even if there's an apocalypse. I don't know. You know, guess what? You know, in order for that to really work, you would need a huge solar array too, wouldn't you? And, you know, if we are in an apocalyptic situation, I hope you have like a lot of ammunition to protect yourself and your property and your solar stuff, because yeah, that's just going to be asking for attention, isn't it? So I don't know. To me, it makes more sense when we're talking about solar power to maximize the efficiency, to be smart with how you use electricity, and to kind of do the most you can with the least amount, you know, with the least battery capacity, with the smallest inverter, et cetera, you know, use DC power everywhere you can, use the inverter sparingly, and you know, basically live like you would be out camping. So yeah, anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this this video, and hopefully you found it helpful somehow. And yeah, thanks for watching.